Hello, dearest friends, dearest beautiful souls of love and light. This is Lady Nenari, Princess of the Sea, coming to you with a special Twin Soul video. So this is an interview that I did about a year and a half, nearly 2 years gone now. And it was one of a bit of a troubled interview in the fact that this was a very newbie person who was new to interviewing, had never done so before. And so it was a bit difficult in terms of her talking over me and allowing me to answer the questions without her interjecting, and as if she had to say what she needed to say rather than what she was meant to be doing, which was interviewing me. And she several times in the interview, which I have cut out of the interview, said, "I'm interviewing you," meaning me, and we're trying to get this message out for everybody else, and I know the answer, she would say, but we need to let our listeners know. But then she would interject, so it was a little bit befuddled in that respect. So I've edited out those parts to make this more accessible in information. And the audio also was something that she was recording off of her phone with really good recording software, so please keep that in mind. But this is a specific video for twin souls about having to do with false twins and karmic twins, and this kind of from the soul perspective, from the Akashic records and the soul perspective. So this was what the interview was about, and you'll hear during the interview, I also stopped the interview and kind of put in the pieces of the puzzle that I was not able to say because I was interrupted several times during the interview. But this is the interview in its entirety, along with extra wisdom, so that it can help guide you in understanding deeply about what false twins are, what karmic twins are, and how to guide yourself on the path of that inner knowing of whether your twin soul is your twin soul, and how to go about healing. So please enjoy the interview.
Well, the thing is first of all, there is no such thing as a false twin, and there is, from the soul essence, no such thing as karma. So in the soul essence, karma is really what's known as soul agreements. So in each life we've chosen to come here on this earth or in the infinite dimensions, we choose with other souls what we're going to experience in any given life. So whether that's with a twin, a near twin, a soulmate, it doesn't matter. We have soul agreements with these other souls. And so when we're doing this in any given life, there's what's known as balance, so we call that karma. But there really is no such thing as karma when you look at it from a soul perspective. Now, false twins is, again, yet another illusion, because there is no such thing as a false twin. There is what is false within a twin, okay, either of the twins, as you share the same soul. So it is the falseness or the darkness or the shadow side that is meant to come up to be a light. And that's what's meant by a false twin. Now, there is someone who can come into your life who you think is your twin, who is not necessarily your twin, and that what they're known as, there's two different things. There's near twins. Near twins are the closest vibrational frequency essence to that of the twin soul without being twin soul. And usually they come into your life to show you what your union with your twin soul will be once all of the muck is completed, once you've made all the shifts of the emotional body and the mental body. So, and completed those four essences. We do. And there's a difference. I'll make the distinction between a soul agreement and a soul contract. The difference between a soul agreement and a soul contract. See, contract is a word that we utilize here on this earth. And contract is something that's usually forceful. When you're signing a contract, you're not usually doing it under choice. You're doing it because you have to, okay? So like an example, let's say in order for you to have water at your home, you sign a contract that says the water company is going to bring water to your home. If you don't pay, you don't get to have that water, right? Okay, that's a contract. Okay, so that's very earthly based. Soul agreement is something that you agree to with a soul or many souls, given the situation or the circumstance, and you agree to it. So you come into a union with it, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, you're going to do this, and this is okay. And it's going to be for a soul remembering to be remembered, or we call it from an earthly perspective, a life lesson to be learned. So that's the difference between soul agreement and soul contract. Soul agreement is you are choosing it of your own divine free choice. Soul contract is more like a forced thing where it's have to, and it's really more of an earthly based thing. And so you asked, do we have soul agreements with everyone that we come into on this earth? Before we come here, not that we have a soul agreement with 8 billion people, as we have almost 8 billion people on this planet now, but we have chosen specific soul agreements with all of those who we will connect with in this life or any other life. So yeah, absolutely. And we also have a soul agreement with our twin soul. We have a soul agreement with soulmates. And soulmates can be anybody, and a friend, it can be a relative, we're all soulmates of each other. And then again, as I said, there's near twin, connects with you on a soul level, and you may not bodily remember, but your soul remembers, oh yeah, we had a soul agreement in this life to come together now. Yeah? So we have cues or clues to remembering them, but to really access it, you really are to be quite conscious, quite aware, and for most on this planet, it takes years of meditation to come into that vibrational frequency, really, to really remember, but that's why people come to someone like myself, because I have that access. It's just a matter of being able to be tuned in, and so that's why it's not a false twin either. It's somebody who is being a catalyst and showing you the mirror of your shadow side. Now, sometimes it can also be who they are being as well. Like, for instance, although there was a soul agreement there, giving an example from my own life, the man who raped me when I was 15, we had a soul agreement for that to occur. But at the same token, in this life, I'm not a rapist. So he wasn't showing me the mirror of my shadow side of being a rapist. He had his own path. And so you come into a place of knowing that this was his own path, and you have compassion for this person. But sometimes people will come into our life to show us that shadow side so that we can work through. We can heal it, and we can bring it into wholeness, because what healing is about bringing it into wholeness, integration. And so we have people that come into our lives. Well, healing actually means to bring into wholeness and integration. Okay, so what that means is to experience the opposite of. So if there's an unhealed aspect within you of, let's say, which is one of the core wounds for twin souls, we all have this, but for twin souls it's really big and prevalent, is abandonment. So to bring abandonment into wholeness or into integration is to experience its opposite and bring it into balance, which means to experience connection. It's to feel connection. Yeah, wholeness, to feel connection. Yeah? So that's what it means to bring something into wholeness or integration. Okay. I'm a karmic twin. Again, there is no karma. Your twin soul can be a catalyst, a soulmate can be a catalyst, a near twin can be. So can a twin be karmic with you? Twin souls themselves have there is no soul karma, no karma in soul, number one. Number two, twin souls themselves do not have karma between them. What they do have, though, is balance. Again, bringing that back into wholeness and integration. So sometimes our twin soul can be what we would think from an earthly perspective as karmic, showing us that shadow side, being actually shadow-like, so that we can bring it into wholeness, to balance, to integration and healing. So that doesn't necessarily mean that your twin necessarily is a false twin. It doesn't mean that they're karmic. It doesn't mean that you're having a karmic relationship. It's just that they are showing you that shadow side, and you can be that for them as well. And And again, it can also be what they're going through. The point is, you don't really want to be relying on the labels themselves, because just like there is a zillion names for the word God, some people do not like the word God because of its religious connotations. Some people insist that it's got to be the word God because that's the only true word. There's cosmic heart, there's universal heart. You know, in Lemurian or light language, we say Shikna Ayanaha, which is universal heart. Same thing as cosmic heart. There's the Tao. There's but nonetheless, there's all these zillion names for God. So there's all these zillion names for the twin soul essence. So the twin soul, as we talked about the last time I was on, is you share the same energy signature, the same vibrational soul signature. Okay, so that is the twin soul.
So I will also say in here that you are the same soul. You are the same vibrational frequency, energy, soul signature in two bodies. One soul in two bodies, as Aristotle was noted to say.
They have no doubt about it in soul. Sometimes there's doubt in the body, because there's often, and this is what I was going to say about a false twin, what you were calling the label of a false twin. When a twin is acting in the falseness, there's what's known as a split. There's the soul essence that realizes and knows without a doubt that you're twin souls. And then there's the bodily essence that's fighting that or resisting that. And so it can appear that there's a false twin there because they're being false and they're saying, oh, you know, you're not my twin soul, you're mad, you're crazy, you're delusional, what have you, when the soul of that person knows that you're really the twin. Okay, so it could be that is what that is. So that's what a false twin is. A false twin is a split. Okay, and the task when that happens is that, see, a lot of twins go through this, and so this is why we're talking about this, because then one of the twins tends to think, oh, well, he's not or she's not my twin soul because they're acting this way or they're acting that way, when actually what it is this split. And here is the key to healing. You were asking about healing, wholeness, integration.
Yes.
The key to healing a split of what is perceived as a false twin is to love the split. So in other words, love both and. So you love the part of them that knows that you're twin souls, and you love the part of them that is running away. Now, karmic twins, it would be the same thing, is you're playing out what is the illusion of karma. Okay, so you're playing out, so let's give an example. Let's say somebody in one life harmed you. Okay, and you feel to harm them back, and you think, oh, it's their karma, right? First of all, it's up to source and it's up to soul agreements, but this is how it can play out.
As I was cut off during this interview, I will now share the rest of what I was trying to say about karmic twins. So there are people in our lives who come and show us what we're meant to do in balancing that karma or healing, integrating from a soul agreement or what we call a life lesson to be learned, or a soul remembering to be remembered, as we say in the soul perspective. And so they come across as someone who is a catalyst that helps us to come into wholeness, balance, and integration. But there is never any such thing as a karmic twin. There are souls that come into our lives to help us to balance, to come into wholeness and completion. But there is no sense of a karmic twin. There is no sense of a karmic twin in that sense. What there is other people that will come into our lives. Our twin soul, when we come into our twin soul, there is no any such thing as karma. Karma is only balance. Karma is cause and effect. So karma is about what you put out there comes back to you, whether it's in this incarnation or another. And I have a channel that I've done about that, which I will include in the link with this video. However, there is never any such thing from a soul perspective as a karmic twin. We utilize this as an earthly label and call them karmic twins, but there is really no such thing. Twin souls never inactivate karma. other souls come into our lives, soulmates, near twins and whatnot will come into our lives in that respect when we are doing the wheel of samsara or other incarnations over and over again to get a life lesson from an earthly perspective or from the soul perspective, a soul remembering to be remembered. In terms of twin soul essence is pure essence. And so there may be things that come up that appear to be karmic that need to be sorted and come into wholeness and balance and integration. And again, to bring into wholeness and balance and integration is the key. So it may appear that our twin soul may have behaviors or we may have behaviors that are dark side or shadow side or karmic in their appearance towards our twin soul, and we often discount the fact that they are our twin soul, or they will discount the fact that we are their twin soul simply based upon behavior. However, twin soul essence is soul essence first, and it is beyond earthly behavior, and earthly behavior is nay a determining factor in whether someone is a twin soul or nay. Oftentimes we come into an inner soul child woundedness in which we think, oh, right, okay, so if if this person is acting this way, they must be a false twin, or they must be a karmic twin, or they must be this because of the behavior. Soul essence is soul essence, and it's beyond earthly human behavior. It would be like saying if Source were to act out and play up or something like that, we would say, oh, this isn't Source because it cannot be God because God is behaving this way and God doesn't behave that way. No, you never say that. Source behaves in a myriad of infinite ways in infinite consciousness through us in different ways, but it's still all Source at the soul essence of it. Now, this is free from excusing any karmic behavior or abusive behavior or anything else, nor should you put up with that. But this helps you to understand from a soul essence that there is nay any such thing as a karmic twin soul or a false twin soul. What there are is false patterns or inner soul childhood healing wounds and traumas and splits within your twin soul, which in essence is you, because you share the same soul, you are the same soul in two bodies, or inner soul childhood healing wounds, traumas, and splits within you that is showing up as well. And so there may be some of that from this life or other lives for you or your twin soul. So there may be that aspect going on that's presenting itself as what we call from an earthly perspective, a negative side or a shadow side or a falseness in that respect. The soul is still your twin soul in physical human form. And the way to heal that in wholeness and balance and integration is to do inner soul child healing work. And this is why I have different links having to do with that, and I do sessions regarding that as well. And I will provide the links in this audio as well for you to gander upon.
However, you do have to remember, they still, even though in soul essence you share the same soul, one soul in two bodies, yes, they still have to have their own physical experience. So whatever you're doing is energetically going to help heal them and vice versa. However, they still have their own soul work that they're meant to do as well. And what happens with false twins is it's really a rejection, and you are the physical part. Whoever's being, false is the physical part is being rejected. In other words, you're the representation of it. So as an example, let's say your twin is rejecting you, okay? So if your twin is rejecting you, what's really happening is you're being the physical representation of your twin actually rejecting himself. Because that which is really meant for you would never reject you. So there's a falseness within the twin that says, I have to reject you. This is what needs to be healed. Yeah? Is that falseness. Because that which is meant for you is never meant, it will never reject you. So that twin is not actually rejecting you. They're rejecting themselves. It may seem like they're rejecting you, but they're actually rejecting themselves. And because you share the same soul, it's like you're being rejected, right? So there's these these two aspects of it. And until the one who is rejecting comes into that wholeness and loves the rejection and experiences the opposite. So what's the opposite of rejection? The opposite of rejection is wholeness. The opposite of rejection is embracing. So if you feel as if your twin is rejecting you, first of all, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting what you represent, which is rejecting themselves, number one. And number two, it's the aspect that's meant to actually be loved and embraced to bring it into wholeness, integration, and balance. Absolutely. It's both and. It's both and. You can do your own healing work, and whatever you do in your own healing work will have this energetic influence.
What I was also cut off in was the explanation of what a catalytic twin or a catalyst twin or twin soul is. Again, it is nay being a separate entity. There is nay a separate entity of a false twin, and then there's someone else and another person who's your actual twin. There is nay any such thing as a catalytic twin, and then obviously some other person being your actual twin. Okay, they are all in the same person. Yeah. Now there can be other people that come into your life, a near twin or a soulmate that comes into your life to be a catalyst for your growth and progression on the next steps of your path, because we have soul agreements with those to experience that. But what the twin soul is still the same twin soul in the same body, and what they are doing or being is they're being a catalyst for a deeper sense of growth into wholeness, balance, integration, healing of the wounds and the traumas, and especially the core wounds and the traumas that go back to abandonment, rejection, and the core wounds that we experience all as souls. And this is a soul agreement that we have usually specifically with our twin soul. So they're coming through as something of a catalyst, propelling us to our next sense of growth. But what they're really doing is showing what is within them and then within you that is meant to be healed and brought into wholeness and integration. Now, again, there's other people who will help us to grow and be a catalyst as well in various ways, depending on our soul agreements. But it is nay to mean that, one separate person is a catalyst twin. No, they're just a catalyst. They are just a catalyst as a near twin perhaps, or a soulmate. Then your actual twin soul, if they are behaving in ways that they are a catalyst or propelling or having you compelled to do this deeper work, they're having you go deep inside you and you with them for the deeper integration. Because when twin souls come together, and especially when they're meant to come together in their last incarnation. Our last incarnation is all about wholeness, balance, integration, and healing in terms of, since we're now coming back here to this earth, it's about coming into soul completion. So we're here to complete and integrate those wounds within us, those traumas within us that keeps us from shining the light of who we are as a twin soul and as a soul in alignment with source. Now, again, there are other people that will come into our lives that will also do this in bits and bobs. But the deepest journey which brings you into the deepest of divine love, or source's love, unconditional love as we call it, which is love without any conditions. Love in terms of the divine love, the love that source has for us and is with us, source, God, spirit, whatever you choose to call such, the master artist. That is the work that we do deeper with our twin soul when we come into union with them, and we're working to meld the emotional body and the mental body. Now, again, there are other souls that will come in as catalysts and be that catalyst to get this in bits and bobs. But the deepest work and the most profound work, and the work that will bring you into unconditional love, which would be the four essences, the four layers, which is the love that you have with source, which is always to be first, and then self-love, the love within of who you are as self, capital S, as in a soul, then your love with your twin soul or divine partner, or whoever you're going to be with in any incarnation, in that respect, and then also with the divine love of all. So to do that deeper healing layers of work of soul integration and soul healing, that's where the catalyst is of a twin soul. And again, so many other people can be catalysts that help you get that in bits and bobs, but your twin soul is the one that helps you as a catalyst to propel you into the deepest part of this work and to come and complete that in soul completion. And if you are nay in your last incarnation, you come together briefly with your twin soul to do that deeper work that lays the foundation for when you come into your last incarnation, so that you can be in that place of divine love and seeing and being and acting and living as Source does, seeing divinely, loving divinely, acting in right action, taking right action as Source does, in that divine love, that unconditional love. So then the question was asked of me in terms of soul agreement, can or know that we're going to be with our twin soul in this given life experience? So this is what I responded with.
We can. Again, I refer to someone like myself because not everybody is always tuned into that. It's about accessing the Akasha and Source energy straight. If you have that connection, you most certainly can tune into that, and your soul has that inner knowing. And as a rule, and of course there's exceptions to the rule, especially with the different new waves of twin souls that are coming here on this planet now. But as a rule, if you are in your last life or your last incarnation here on this earth, that's when you come together with your twin soul.
So this then was the end of the interview. So I would just like to say in closing, although it was a difficult interview because the woman who interviewed me was very novice, and I've been doing radio for over 20 years, and so she had no skills as to how to actually interview somebody and was talking over me quite a bit, instead of allowing me the space to be able to answer the questions that she gave to me. And nonetheless, it was still, a beautiful interview and being able to get across what I did. And this is also why I put little bits in here in between so that you have a better understanding. So in closing, I'd also like to share that it depends upon your soul agreement. Each twin soul has their own unique soul agreement as to whether they are in their last incarnation, and many twin souls have no idea if they're in their last incarnation or nay, or what their soul agreement is, or what their soul's path is and their soul mission together. And a lot of times people are struggling because they're meant to be together in this incarnation because they're free from being in their last incarnation. Now, there is newer twin soul waves that are coming in. I am part of the first wave of twin souls that came in. My twin soul and I are. And there are others that are second, third, fourth, and fifth wavers that are now coming in. Again, it depends upon each unique soul agreement. As there was a post just recently on one of the twin soul groups that I'm on, in which she was indicating that, this past weekend that just passed us, and then this weekend coming up being Easter weekend, might be the 2 weekends that would be the last 2 weekends of you being alone, and that you may come together with your twin soul. It may has anything to do with a specific point in earthly time. It has more to do with your soul agreement and what you chose as twin souls, and relative to the choice of what I share here in this interview of how much integration and balance and deeper soul healing work that you and your twin soul have both done, as to whether you will come into physical union or not. If you may have a soul agreement to come together in this incarnation, and or if one or both of you are free from doing the deeper healing work in melding those 4 bodies, as I shared earlier, the 2 in particular being the emotional and the mental body, then physical union is going to be free from occurring. And so loads of twin souls seem to struggle and then attack their twin souls and saying, it must be a karmic twin, or it must be a false twin, or he or she is my twin, or whatnot, when all of that has nothing to do with soul, and it also has to do with your soul agreement specifically as to whether and when you will come together. Now some do choose a specific portal of earthly time, and there are earthly portal times. We went through the 333 portal, and there's other earthly portal times that come in which we may have a soul agreement to choose to come together in union. But to make a blanket statement that, oh, this weekend or that weekend or some other time would be the day or the time when you're going to come together is just giving false hope. And it's very similar to the whole Y2K thing that we went through in the year 2000, when they said, oh, the world's going to come to an end and all our computers are going to crash because we're going to hit the year 2000, and all that hullabaloo, or the hullabaloo that occurred at winter solstice 2012, when, oh, it's supposed to be the ascension and the shift into humanity of consciousness, and all the humanity is going to shift right now on this particular day. Nay, it's all has to do with soul agreement, soul's path and progression and choice from a human perspective in your divine free will or divine free choice, as we say in a soul perspective, as to whether you're actually going to choose that. You may have a soul agreement, and as I said earlier in the interview, you may have a soul agreement to, let's say, come together in union on Easter weekend in 2019, but maybe one or both of you is denying or rejecting that soul agreement and hasn't done the deeper soul work. So the time is going to come and it's going to pass, and then you're going to feel disappointed. And there's loads of people who are going to feel disappointed after that, just like loads of people felt disappointed after the Y2K thing didn't happen, or the winter solstice 2012 thing didn't happen, because it all happens in its own divine timing, and it's all based upon source's will be done, thy will be done, and then also the soul agreement that you chose together with source and with your twin soul, and what all souls choose in any given incarnation. Now, again, it may be at that particular point in time you may come into union, but it may be another time. So to blanketly say that, oh, this is what's going to happen, this is giving false hope. And people are meant to experience this kind of stuff over and over and over again, so that they come out of this distraction, being free from being distracted by events such as these things, to notice them and to recognize them and say, oh yeah, this is a portal of energy, or this is a specific time frame where there's loads of energy on and it's wonderful. But to be attached to a specific outcome that, oh, this means I'm going to come together with my twin soul, or this means I'm somehow ascending, or this somehow means this or that, may or may not necessarily be true. If you can or know your own soul, and you know your soul agreement is, and that's when it will happen, then it will. Yeah, but most people are clueless as to what their soul agreements are. This is why people come to someone such as myself, or they learn to access their own Akasha, which I teach also in a course of how to access your own Akasha, to give the power in your own hands so that you can actually read your own Akasha, and as well as read for other people if you so choose to. So it's very important that we may rely upon earthly dates and earthly portal times and things of that nature. There are times that this could occur, and this is possible that it could occur, but it's nae the end all be all, and so we are to be more fluid and less attached and distracted by those certain things. So unless you're able to tune in and really can or know your own soul and your own soul agreement, this is why, as I was saying in the interview, many come to me for a Akashic Records reading or Twin Soul mentoring session. And the Twin Soul mentoring sessions I include as part of it accessing your Akasha with your soul's permission as to what your soul agreements are in general in all of your life, but also with your twin soul. Are you in your last incarnation with your twin soul? What is your soul agreements? What is the path? What is the best path for you to come into union? And how to meld what I was cut off in during the interview was the four different bodies, and I talk about this in many of my videos. I have a whole playlist on YouTube about all of this, webinars that I've done and whatnot. There is four main essences. There is the soul essence, in which the soul body, in which you are together already as souls, melded as one in union. And then there is the physical union, if that is your soul agreement. And then the other two layers are the emotional body and the mental body. And those are to be melded. And the emotional body has to do with exactly what we were talking about. This falseness, or these triggers, these wounds, these traumas within you from your own physical experience in this incarnation as well as other incarnations, also in connection with your twin soul, of such wounds and traumas that are being ignited within you, of this falseness that appears to be a false twin but is nay false twin. It is simply the falseness that is occurring within the union that is being brought up for integration, for balance, for wholeness, for healing. And then there is the mental body, and the mental body is all of the thought processes, and then it's also having to do with things having to do with cultural backgrounds and differences and things of that nature. So I work with twin souls specifically for this. I work with all souls in accessing the Akasha. These are gifts that I was born with, that I came here with. And so I can assist you in any form or fashion that you require on the path. Please see my website, diamondlady.net, and feel free to message me through social media or through my email address, nenari@diamondlady.net, for a session. And I would be most humbly honored to assist you within the humanitarian essence that I give to all of humanity. So may this wisdom here bless you on the twin soul path and guide you in love always, in all ways. Espavo.